Hey everyone, today I'm making a video about the P4wnP1, and this is what it should look like at the end. It should be a Raspberry Pi Zero with a screen on it. Now the reason why I'm putting the screen on it is the screen makes it a lot more easy to use. And now if you know anything about this technology, which you probably do if you're looking at this video, it can be used for bad things. So do not use it for bad things. If you don't have permission to use it on the computer that you're using, do not do it. Okay. Um, Also know that certain things you do are monitored. So if you're going online looking up a lot of stuff like HID scripts and all this stuff about poor phone pies and stuff like that, your traffic is probably monitored somewhere. So someone's got to know that you're doing something, and this is used for by red teams in cybersecurity and like real pen testing and stuff like that. Um, I saw online that conferences a few years back for like the CIA talked about this device. So it can be used for really bad things. Um, and it is a really cool thing though. We're going to get into why it's cool in the video, but use it responsibly and also know it's it's just a tool, but how you use a tool matters. So use it wisely. Let's get into the video.
So the first thing you want to do is SSH into the device after you connect it via USB. Now you can use a USB adapter or you can use a USB cable, but this will give the device Ethernet. So you'll see Ethernet and then you root into it, you SSH into root, which is the username 172.168.0.1, and then the password is toor, TOOR. After you're in, I highly recommend changing the password from TOOR because this will be connected to Wi-Fi. And if they have your password, they can get into your device just as you're in your device. So the how you reset the password is PASSWD. Okay, there's no or in password. And then after that, you put in your new password, type in your new password again. It'll reset your old password to the new password. Highly recommend doing that. Make sure you do it. Otherwise, you're leaving yourself vulnerable. Then go on to their website, which is the same IP address, but port 8000, which is :8000. Make sure your client with Fallover AP to AP is on. Otherwise, you won't have the access to have internet. And then put in your address, your SSID, and your password. The SSID is your Wi-Fi name. Make sure there's no extra spaces, and then put in your password. Make sure your password is there. Highly recommend using a phone's Wi-Fi because you want to be able to change the password, change everything. Using your own stuff, you're gonna have to change the password. It's plain text. Then you put in the keyring for Kali to update the keyring. I struggle with this a lot. If you don't update the keyring, you won't be able to upload anything and you won't be able to download anything either. So you're not going to be able to do any updates if you don't have the keyring. So make sure you get the keyring on there. Then do sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. Why? We'll just put yes for everything.
This is probably going to take a while, so I'm going to get an energy drink. I'll be back.
Now, when it asks you if you want to restart services package upgrades without asking, hit yes. Otherwise, it's going to ask you every single time. Not worth it. This is just an automated process to hit yes for you. So hit yes. That'll take care of the issue of potentially having to stay pressing buttons to keep it going. That's not a huge deal. That's not going to corrupt any file systems at all. It's just going to automate the process for you.
By energy drink, I mean pre-workout. I noticed there's a cost savings there. It's about 80 cents per serving for pre-workout, where an energy drink costs anywhere from like $2.50 or $2 if you're lucky, or sometimes upwards of $4 with tax. So, uh, Yeah, 50 cents to 80 cents for pre-workout is not too bad.
Now that that's done, what you need to go do is go onto the boot config text. And when you're on the boot config text, what you're going to do is you're going to uncomment things by deleting the hashes or the, I forget what they're called exactly, but you delete the pound signs. And then after you delete the pound signs or hashes, you turn things on. If you don't delete the comments or the hashes, it will not work even if you turn it on. So I'll show you an example here. If it's working, it should be white. Okay, if it's blue, it's not working. So even if it's labeled as on, if it's blue, it's not working. Okay, after the boot config text has been modified, you need to reboot. So reboot, it's going to log you out, then re-SSH into the machine with your username and password. The username is root and the password should be the one that you made. After that, cd/root, and you're going to see Pi Bluetooth for reason. Now, this is really important. You have to use dpkg, dpackage, install, and you need to install this dev package. Otherwise, the other things that you need to fulfill will not be fulfilled. It needs this package to work for whatever reason. So install this package and then you'll be able to do the rest of your updates. So after you install that package, the next one you want to download is libjpeg-dev. So it's JPEG developers, and that's really required for Python libraries. The only thing is, though, one thing you have to remember to do, which I forgot to do here, is you have to turn back on your Wi Fi. It'll go back to the default settings when you reboot. So the default settings are Wi Fi off and not that client with fallback AP or something like that. I forget exactly what it's called. But you have to go back onto your website for the Poor Phone Pi and turn back on the Wi-Fi. This one's going to take a while too. There is something you should know about this one. You want to keep it local. And then after that's all done, you can do all the Python downloads to make the Python work for the screen to work. So some of these are really important packages and they're actually all necessary for this to work. So Python 3 is the way to go. You can pip3 install if you don't do the update, but you can't install all of them pip3 for whatever reason. So this is the way to go right here. Do the full update first, and then Python, and then get pip, and then get dev, and then get setup tools, pill, nuppy, lumacore, rpi, gpio, spydev, Python 3, smbus, and you also want to get luma OLED as well. So just throw that one on there. I verified it does work if you do that. So when you do all that right there, it should keep on working. Okay, and you shouldn't have to do anything else from this point on. It should just update. The next thing you'll have to do is git git git. Git is how you get things off GitHub with a very secure connection. So down, you want to do sudo apt-get install git, and then after that, you're going to do git clone, and you're going to clone Night Ranger's repository. After that, you're going to cd into Night Ranger's repository, and you're going to go to Poor Phone Pi Aloha LED menu P3. After that, you're going to do a /install.sh, and that's going to install everything for you. Next thing you want to do after that is go back to the website. And when you go back to the website, you want to run a bash script. And when you run the bash script, you want to do the runmenu.sh. That's going to have it be, and then you want to store it, and you want to store it under the startup, because right now the generic setting, everything's on startup. When everything's on startup, it's going to boot that up when the device starts up. There's more settings you can play around with, but we're just going to leave it at that right there. Next thing you want to do is you want to mess around with the HID scripts, because this is what the whole P4wnP1 is for, HID device. So when you do the HID device, you want to just look at the scripts that he has. You're going to have to figure out the folders where to move the HID scripts to, so you don't have to copy and paste into the web interface. You can just do it on the device with SSH, but you're going to have to explore the file system to figure that out. But once you're here, I highly recommend looking at this one right here, which is the exfil. So this is an HID script that I modified. This one just goes through Windows and copies out the things that it's looking for. It's looking for breast, ass, and kid. These are things that should not be on a work computer, because obviously personal life should remain personal, and you can hide things inside of pictures like programs and stuff like that. That's actually a very easy way to compromise people. You put a picture on their device that has a hidden script inside of it or hidden executable, and it can do a lot of damage. So these are things that shouldn't be on a computer. Personal life should remain personal and work should remain work. But these are things that also could be in combination very bad. You could be looking at somebody committing really heinous crimes against kids. So this is also something that might be used to find that. You can search for anything. The wild card is the star. So this is an example that I have.
Okay, new location. So say I'm just on my computer looking at stuff online, and I figure, you know what? I'm just gonna go somewhere else for a little bit. Leave my computer up and open. That's when I walk in, a red Deemer. And my goal is to get data off the computer. So plug in this device. Now I'm going to run the direct scripts. You can see it on the screen. It runs PowerShell first. You got to put a delay on here, so if your delays are off, it won't work. Everything's going to be wrong. Now what it's doing is it's going through all the files and looking for the things that we gave it to look for. Okay, so this process takes a while, and while it seems like you can just run this, put this on the computer real quick, exfiltrate everything and get out, that's not really the case. It still takes time. It only operates as fast as the computer that you're using, because it's using the computer's resources. Another thing that could be done to prevent this scenario from happening is if you leave, just close your laptop. A lot of laptops have auto locking features when you close the laptop, and then you have to come back and retype in your password. But make sure that feature is enabled and close your laptop. Have it at least have a lock screen. Lock screens are not impervious to penetration. What you can do, and what people have done in the past, is they'll plug an external drive, a boot drive in, and they'll use a live boot scenario by putting your phone or your computer into BIOS mode, and then they'll exfiltrate that way. So encrypted folders or an encrypted drive is actually really recommended, but that's for sensitive data, because with the encryption comes some issues. On this project, I had a drive get corrupted that was encrypted, and since it was encrypted and it got corrupted when it was encrypted, I was unable to retrieve any of the information off the drive because it got corrupted. So it comes with your risk threat model and stuff like that. What are you actually trying to keep secure? What are you trying to not really hide, but what are you trying to keep people from finding out or having access to, kind of thing? If you're trying to hide just know there's reasons why you wouldn't want to hide, and there's reasons why you would want to stay secure, right? So um, sometimes being secure is not really hiding, it's just having the protection that you need, right? I've let that run for long enough, so I'm going to unplug it now and put it back in my room. I just plugged this in right here. It takes a little bit to boot up because it is kind of a slow system. It only has a little bit of RAM and it is operating off an SD card. But I think a battery would be kind of overkill sometimes, but it just lit up. Now I have the file on my computer right here, the exfil file. So this is the exfil file. It has a whole bunch of app data. We're not really interested in that. We're looking for folders and stuff like that. But the app data could be useful to find what's in the folders or downloads and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go in here, local, Microsoft, Edge. Okay, user data. Um, default. Let's go back to user data, autofill, bypass. Okay, not that. User data, passwords text. That's pretty bad. Okay. Classification is JavaScript. Well, that's not what we're looking for. So I'm going to go back to exfil again. Right here, desktop. Well, that's kind of what we were looking for. We got a big, beautiful ass, donkey. Okay, and then music. Why is this in music? But we got big breast, chicken breast. Okay, and then we got pictures. Okay, pictures, assholes. Definitely assholes. So that's going right there. Okay, cool. Cute little kid. Goat. I'd say that's a cute goat. Really cute goat. Goats are kids. Okay, cool. And then more kids. More goats. Cool. Okay, let's look. Was that everything? System volume information. Yeah, that's everything. So I hope you enjoyed this little example of what this can do. Just know that if you have a file uh, in that script named anything else besides exfil and your storage is not called exfil, it won't save it. I had to figure that out. Also, if you're trying to get this app image, just go to Night Ranger and download his app image. Also, use his scripts. They're pretty self-explanatory on how to learn the basics of HID script and stuff like that. He does have one executable file, which I would not use unless you're able to figure out what it does. Uh, Downloading executable files, not the greatest idea um, unless you know what they do. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to try to put this on my own GitHub repository so that you can do this as well. But I'm going to do the same thing Night Ranger did. I'm going to update it all and have the whole system ready for you. So all you have to do is just get the screen and plug it in, and then you should be good. But again, he kind of did it first. So hats off to him, her, or intersex. I don't know who Night Ranger is really, but they did a great job. And also, I'm really blown away with how long this took to figure out how to do all this stuff, but I'm happy that I learned how to do it and was able to troubleshoot and figure everything out along the way. But have a good day. Bye.